There comes a moment in every life, quiet, invisible, often missed, where a man or woman stands at the edge of everything they've ever known and everything they've ever dreamed.
No fanfare. No spotlight.
Just silence and decision. It's not the moment of victory that shapes your destiny. It's the moment you choose to give something up. Not because someone told you to, not because it was easy, but because you finally realized you can't carry both comfort and greatness in the same hands. If you want to rise, something must fall. If you want success, something must be sacrificed. This is the law of growth. This is the hidden truth no one wants to admit. Not the fake hustle, not the cute quotes, but the cost, the real cost. You say you want to build an empire? Then ask yourself, what are you willing to bury? Because your dreams don't require your wishes. They require your willingness to suffer for them. Edison didn't stumble into the light. He was rejected, humiliated, doubted by even the men he hired. But he gave up sleep, gave up comfort, gave up everything for one obsession: illumination. Lincoln didn't find leadership in applause. He was broken, defeated, underestimated, but he gave up safety. He sacrificed popularity, certainty, and even his personal peace to uphold an idea called freedom. You want success? Then name your price, because your success is already waiting. It's just waiting on your sacrifice. Mindset, the first fire. The mind is not some fragile glass that breaks under pressure. It is a forge. And sacrifice is the flame. Every person you admire, every person whose name echoes through history, they all knew one truth. You cannot think like the masses and expect uncommon results. The poor man clings to comfort. The rich man kills comfort to create power. The weak seek approval. The strong walk alone, fueled by clarity, not noise. Sacrifice is not loss, it's an exchange. You give up what you are to become who you must. Do you think Carnegie built his fortune by chasing applause? No. He turned away from short-term pleasure, faced his demons, studied relentlessly, and worked until others called him crazy. He sacrificed ease to master steel, and in doing so, forged an empire that reshaped industry. But the world doesn't teach this anymore. The world says, balance. Take it easy. Don't go too far. Let me tell you something. If ease was the path, everyone would be extraordinary. But the truth is, extraordinary is the reward for the few who gave up ordinary. Belief, the quiet battle. Before you ever see the mansion, the car, the legacy, the success, you must first believe in it with the kind of faith that makes no logical sense. Faith is the currency of sacrifice. If you don't believe the reward is real, you'll never pay the price. Henry Ford wasn't born with wealth or connections. He was born with belief. One so stubborn, so unreasonable that it made his own investors walk away. They called him foolish. They said it couldn't be done. But Ford believed, and he sacrificed everything to prove them wrong. He didn't just build cars. He built belief into fact. That's what belief does. It converts vision into reality. But only if you're willing to lose what you have to gain what you see. So I ask you again, what are you willing to let go of? Comfort? Approval? Entertainment? Your ego? Your past? Because every breakthrough requires a burial. You don't grow into greatness by accident. You grow into it when you finally say, I'm done negotiating with mediocrity. I will pay the price. Clarity isn't something you find in the world. It's something you carve out of chaos. You cannot hear your calling if your life is too loud. You cannot see your vision if your path is covered in clutter, mental, emotional, spiritual. Sacrifice begins with subtraction. Cut the noise. Cut the opinions. Cut the endless distractions disguised as progress. Do you know why most people never rise? It's not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they're not talented enough. It's because they're too distracted to go deep. Too addicted to convenience to pursue clarity. The greatest minds in history had one thing in common. They were willing to remove everything that didn't align with their purpose. Da Vinci wasn't scrolling through opinions. He was alone in silence, sketching greatness. Jobs wasn't checking what the world thought. He was building what the world didn't yet understand. They didn't just act differently. They thought differently. And the only way to think differently is to subtract what everyone else worships. Clarity demands sacrifice. You don't stumble into a clear mind, you earn it. With intention, with solitude, with ruthless discipline. Ask yourself, what in your life is stealing your focus? Who is feeding your doubt? What are you consuming that weakens your belief in yourself? Then cut it. Not tomorrow. Now. Because if you don't create space for your future, your past will keep repeating. Vision, see it before you live it. Vision is the blueprint of the soul. Before it becomes real in your hands, it must become unshakable in your mind. If you can't see it, you can't build it. And if you won't believe it before it's visible, you'll never make it visible. Do you think Walt Disney waited for others to approve his dream? He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine that, being told you're not creative enough by people who couldn't dream past a paycheck. But Disney, he didn't retaliate with anger. He retaliated with vision. He closed his eyes and saw entire worlds before they existed. He built a kingdom from imagination, brick by brick, setback by setback, bankruptcy by bankruptcy. Because vision doesn't require money. It requires belief that refuses to die. Most people say, I'll believe it when I see it. Champions say, I'll see it, and then I'll make the world believe it. That's vision. And vision demands sacrifice. Because when you walk in a direction no one else sees, you walk alone. You walk through mockery, through doubt, through failure, through isolation. But that's the price. And the price is always worth it if you're willing to pay it. So what do you see when you close your eyes? Do you see survival or legacy? Do you see excuses or destiny? Because the size of your vision will always be measured by the depth of your sacrifice. Purpose, the reason you can't quit. Purpose is the fire that never lets you sleep. It's the voice that whispers, you were born for more, even when the world tells you to settle. It's what pulls you out of bed when motivation dies. It's what keeps you fighting when logic says to give up. Without purpose, sacrifice feels like suffering. But with purpose, sacrifice becomes fuel. You think Martin Luther King Jr. didn't feel fear? You think Mandela didn't feel pain? They did. They were human. But their purpose was bigger than their fear. Bigger than their comfort. Bigger than their safety. They understood. Legacy is born in the fire of sacrifice. You don't leave your name in history books by playing it safe. You carve it into time by giving everything for something that matters more than your own comfort. Your purpose doesn't need to be loud, but it needs to be real. It needs to be so rooted in your soul that quitting feels like betrayal. If your dream doesn't demand more from you, it's not your purpose. It's a pastime. So dig deep. Why are you really here? What were you born to build, to heal, to lead, to transform? Because until you know your why, your how will always feel impossible. But once your why is clear, no sacrifice will scare you. No setback will stop you. You'll bleed for it. You'll burn for it. You'll rise for it. Because when your purpose is real, you stop negotiating with mediocrity, and you start building the life you were born to live. Discipline is the dividing line between the life you want and the one you're stuck in. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not motivation. It's the choice you make when no one's watching. It's what you do after the emotion is gone, and only the commitment remains. Discipline is sacrifice in motion. It's saying no to now so you can say yes to forever. Do you think Muhammad Ali became a legend because he loved training? No. He once said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's discipline. It's what separates kings from cowards. It's what turns potential into performance. It's what builds mental armor so thick that no failure can penetrate it. Discipline is not about intensity. It's about consistency. Anybody can be inspired for a day. Anybody can grind for a week. But who are you after 90 days of no results? Who are you when it's dark and lonely, and the only thing you hear is your own doubt? Because that's the battlefield. And that's where your identity is forged. The truth is simple. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. And habits are children of discipline. So when you wake up tired, when you want to quit, when comfort calls your name, ask yourself, am I building my future or just borrowing time from my past? Discipline doesn't give you everything instantly, but it gives you everything eventually. Action, the faith that moves. Thoughts are powerful. Belief is essential. Vision is sacred. But none of it means anything without action. Too many people drown in ideas. They worship inspiration but never move. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for clarity, for certainty, for signs. But what if I told you, movement is the miracle? Success doesn't reward the thinkers. It rewards the doers. You don't need more information. You need more execution. You don't need another course, another plan, another permission slip. You need to act while you're afraid. You need to build while you're broken. To move while you're unsure. Because the people who win in life, they don't wait until they feel ready. They take messy action until they become ready. Just like Elon Musk built rockets before the experts said it was possible. Just like Oprah built an empire before anyone gave her a chance. Just like Hill himself said, do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand. That is sacrifice. To act before you're certain. To trust the process more than your fear. And every time you move, the universe moves with you. Resilience, the fire you don't see coming. Resilience isn't built in calm waters. It's born in the storm. You'll be broken. You'll be betrayed. You'll face setbacks so vicious they make you question if your dream was ever real. But that's the test. That's life asking, do you want this bad enough to bleed for it? Most people say no. They tap out. They walk away and blame the system, the timing, the world. But not you. Because if you want to win, you must learn how to suffer beautifully. You must become the kind of person who doesn't just endure pain, but turns pain into power. Look at Abraham Lincoln. Defeated in elections, crushed by grief, paralyzed by depression. Yet he rose again and again because he believed in something larger than himself. He sacrificed comfort for country. He suffered so others wouldn't have to. That is what resilience looks like. It's not pretty. It's not perfect. But it's unbreakable. Resilience is the backbone of destiny. It's the voice that whispers, get back up. We are not finished. Even when the world says you're done. It's not a trait you're born with. It's a choice you make. Every single time you're knocked down. So make that choice. Every single day. Get up.
Standhalt.
Keep moving. Because your success is not waiting on your strength. It's waiting on your scars. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is not some soft, poetic sentiment tossed around on holidays. Gratitude is power. It is a form of spiritual discipline. It's the decision to say, I will honor what I have, even as I build what I desire. You see, the world teaches hunger without reverence. But the greats, those who changed everything, they knew, if you can't respect what you already have, the universe will never trust you with more. Gratitude is the armor that protects your mind from bitterness, envy, and fear. Because when you train your eyes to see the gift in the struggle, you stop resenting the process and start transforming through it. When Thomas Edison's lab burned to the ground, years of work reduced to ashes, he didn't curse the heavens. He didn't fall into despair. He stood before the fire and said, there is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start again. That's gratitude. That's power. That's a mind so trained in purpose that even destruction becomes opportunity. So look at your pain and thank it. Look at your failures and bless them. Look at your waiting season and honor it. Because nothing is wasted when you're aligned with purpose. Everything is shaping you, especially the things you didn't ask for. Adaptability, evolve or be erased. Sacrifice doesn't just demand discipline, it demands evolution. The world is changing. Fast. And success doesn't go to the strongest. It goes to the most adaptable. If you can't shift, you'll be shattered. If you cling to your old identity, you'll drown in a new world. You must sacrifice who you were to become who the future demands you to be. This is why most people fail. They want success on their terms. But success only responds to growth. Kodak didn't adapt. Blockbuster didn't evolve. They clung to comfort, to the way it's always been. And the future erased them. So what are you clinging to? Old thinking? Outdated habits? A version of yourself that no longer fits your vision? Then let it go. Break your own mold before the world does it for you. Because the future doesn't belong to the prepared, it belongs to the willing. The willing to change, to learn, to rebuild, to become. Learning, stay humble, stay hungry. You must be forever a student. Because the second you believe you know it all, you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing, your future starts dying. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert was once confused. The greatest minds, Hill, Carnegie, Disney, Tesla, they weren't obsessed with being right. They were obsessed with learning what they didn't yet know. They sacrificed ego for elevation. That's what true learning is, a sacrifice of pride. It's the humility to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm relentless enough to find them. Learning is not just reading books. It's listening when your ego wants to speak. It's adjusting when your plan doesn't work. It's evolving every day, even if it's painful. So ask yourself, what have you learned this year? Not just about business, but about you, about your patterns, your pain, your power, because your mind is your weapon, and sharpening it is not a luxury. It is a requirement. Final climax, the war of becoming. Now hear this. You will never become great by accident. You will never stumble into destiny by doing what is easy. You will never unlock success if you are not willing to suffer for it. You are in a war not against the world, but against who you used to be. The undisciplined you, the doubting you, the distracted you, the one who needed validation, the one who broke every promise to themselves. That version of you must die so the real one can rise. Your future is waiting. Not in the next motivational video, not in another plan, not in another excuse, but in your sacrifice. The moment you decide, I will do what most won't, so I can live how most can't, that's when it all changes. You'll feel pain, you'll feel fear, but you'll also feel power. The kind of power that can only be earned through sweat, through discipline, through loneliness, through relentless, quiet, consistent sacrifice. Success is not an accident. It is a trade. A brutal, honest, beautiful trade. So make the trade. Let go of average. Let go of comfort. Let go of the excuses that have owned you for too long. Because your success is already written. It's waiting, watching, asking one question. Are you willing to pay the price? If the answer is yes, then rise. This is your time. This is your test. And this is the sacrifice that will set you free.